participate in my own recovery today and to share my experience, strength, and hope. And I'm going to just read a short passage from the big book, bottom of page 87, last paragraph, and I'll be sharing on that. As we go through the day, we pause when agitated or doubtful, and we ask for the right thought or action. We constantly remind ourselves that we no longer are running the show, humbly saying to ourselves many times each day, "Thy will be done." Uh, we are then in much less danger of excitement, fear, anger, worry, self-pity, or foolish decisions. We become much more efficient. We do not tire so easily, for we're not burning up energy foolishly as we did when we were trying to arrange life to suit ourselves. It works. It really works. We alcoholics are undisciplined, so we let God discipline us in the simple way we have just outlined. Thy will be done. So it was amazing when Teresa asked me to speak, and then she got back to me a couple of days later and said, "This is the topic in which you'll be speaking on." Do you have any objections to it? My response to her is, "Teresa, this is where I live. I don't know how to live another way today." So it really wasn't always that way for me. I didn't come to this fellowship looking for God's will to be done in my life. I actually made it here on the vehicle of Robin's will be done. I've always done what I ever always wanted to do, no matter what the benefits or consequences were. When the book talks about us being extremely undisciplined, I found out how much so I was when I made it to these rooms. And there were incredible men and women that were very, very skillful in helping me see the self that I never wanted to see. One of the most difficult things I've yet to do in all my days was to see myself for who I really was, opposed to who I convinced myself I was, who I projected myself to be, but who I really, really was. And, those underlying currents of thought that we have, our thought process, our intentions, and our motives. And so I'm really grateful to this fellowship because I get to live in a God-centered world now that I never thought possible for me. I'll share a little bit with you about what my life is like. What it's like is that I'm right now in my bedroom having this conversation with you while I have a house full of, I operate a transitional home, and I have women that are right now, being mindful of a particular woman that I just took in who has severe mental challenges. And I don't think that may be able to survive in this house because my women are very, very, they're very high alert. They're very outgoing. They just needed a hand up and not necessarily a handout. But I got a call last night from someone in our fellowship and said, "I got a call from someone's family member and they're so concerned about their sister and I've got to find her." And they said to me, "Robin, if I find her, can I bring her to your house?" And I said, "Well, you look, and while you look, I'm going to have a conversation with God." Because I now live and operate in a world where I don't want to have a conversation. I don't need a life experience that hasn't been ordained for me. And when I speak in these terms, it's not from a religious state of being, it's from a relationship that I found. Here in these rooms, a relationship was cultivated with me and a God of my understanding that's become a love relationship, and the darn thing is so beautiful that I live in it, through it, and by it. And so I felt this particular peace within myself, and I'm like, I don't want to see someone, homeless or in a destitute situation, not at this time. And so I accepted the woman into our home. My family members aren't that thrilled about it, and I understand why. they're not exceptionally thrilled about what I'm doing in this climate, right? They know that I can fully handle myself in a normal arena, but none of us are experiencing normality these days. And so, of course, they're all really concerned. Are you still taking people in? Why would you be doing that? At this time, right? And hmm, I live what I just read to you out of the passage of the book. I had a conversation a few days ago with a couple of my siblings, and I said to them, there's some paperwork and documentation that I'm going to need you all to take possession of and become very familiar with and be aware of. Because I live a thy will be done kind of life. It's not sometime, it's not most of the time. It's just where I'm at today in my life. And it took decades for me to get here in sobriety. I didn't just get here and all of a sudden I just ended up on this page, telling God I'll follow your lead. Every day I have a full-blown agenda on my desk right now. There are 3 phones, a tablet, and a computer. Everything's on silent but this conversation with you. So just sharing my heart with you and what my life experiences are as it relates to our 12-step process and to this particular step as well. And so I made my siblings become alert and aware, and one that hasn't, and he's online right now, and I'll catch up with him later, of some things that I've mapped out, some things that I want in place. Maybe I won't survive this. I don't have any fear about that. I have lived almost 3 decades of the most incredible life within this fellowship that I never thought possible for myself. And if I don't survive a pandemic that's hit this globe, I don't survive it. I've had a good life right here in this room with so many people that are online right now. Like, I'm full, excuse me. She gave me a topic that totally, it pierces to the core of who I am today. I didn't come in here like this. I made it to these rooms still thinking that money, property, and prestige were the tools in which I'd use to navigate myself through my life. You didn't hear anything about God in that statement. And I've been so fortunate over the years that there have been such kind, compassionate, and people that had such an incredible working knowledge of these steps that they took me under their wing. They loved me in a way that I did not know how to love myself. I thought that self-maintenance was love, Get the right shade of lipstick, drive the right automobile, wear the right designer clothes. And that was self-love, So you already know I was in a complete state of delusion. And I sure couldn't have sat here and had this conversation with you this evening from that premise in my life. Yeah. I don't have a planned script when I'm asked to speak. I just share my heart from where I'm asked to speak from. I just tell the truth as best I know it to be today. And I'm not always 100% certain that it's full truth. I am still an alcoholic. I have recovered from a mind and body, physical state of being that would render me hopeless and helpless. But I still have to keep in mind that I suffer from a disease that's mind-centered. And the same way it was out to destroy me prior to getting here, it doesn't go away. As we grow in here and as we deepen ourselves in our belief systems, and as we continue to seek God on a daily basis to enlarge upon our spiritual maintenance so that we become far more valuable to God, to ourselves, and to our fellows, this disease does not go away. at the drop of a hat when it's least expected, on a clear, beautiful day, when the world is relatively in balance, it will leap out at you from nowhere, from nowhere. And so there are a number of people in my life, a number of them that are online right now that I use as a voice of reason. I don't make any life decisions today without seeking God and without running major life decisions by other people. Major life decisions. I take into consideration what their opinions may be. I live a completely transparent life today, and it wasn't always that way. And I didn't realize I had the level and degree of secrets that I did when I got here. But I had so many secrets. And, as we say in these rooms, that we're as sick as our secrets. And so it made me a very, very sick person, mentally, spiritually, and definitely emotionally. I was spiritually bankrupt in coming here. And like so many other people, we can talk about the academics of what the words are that lie on the pages within, but don't talk to me about that God stuff. you know, I had my share of God. And one of the hugest resentments that I had in being here was with God when I got here. And I thank the people that helped me to be able to see God in a different perspective and in a different life from a different position, so that I could have the relationship that I do today. And my life hangs in the balance of what that relationship is day to day. And so I live my life out to empty out myself, the vessel that I am, whatever kindness, compassion, whatever tolerance and a level of understanding that can be explored and that can be shared, that it can also be left in the world. My life's goal is to create a positive rippling effect in the universe that I may not ever be here to fully see it in effect, but that the dash between when I came and when I left will have meant something, because God's will have been fulfilled in my life. I'm fully aware of the fact that I don't get to live the kind of life I do without God's omnipresence, And so for that, I'm eternally grateful. I came here living life from the outside in, the square footage of the homes we live in, who our social friends were, what our annual network was, things of that nature. None of that matters to me today, My best life lived is from the inside out, from this relationship that's been cultivated between my maker and myself. And so when we share, if you're new to our rooms and we share from this perspective and you hear us saying God, we are not actually, I'll say I am not, I'm not sharing from a religious perspective. I don't claim any religion. What I claim is a relationship with my creator that I've come to know, come to love, and come to understand, and knows that only wants the absolute best for me and for his other children. Okay. I didn't see the clock, so if those bells were for me, let me know. And when it's time, I just need you to cut me off. Give me a cutoff point, at least 5 to 7 minutes in, okay? And so I get to live the incredible life I live today. And I'd seen other people have similar lives and even better. But for some reason, I thought, I don't want what they have, all that, I don't want that. I want a life that's full and flavorful, and, I want to live the full extension of myself. And, I want to have all my life experiences, the good, the bad, and the indifferent, Whew, not today. Not even, not hardly. Like I'm so content in this moment that I'm in right now with you that there's no place else my mind is circulating to be but in this moment. And I get to live my life in real time. And that's amazing to me. I'm an avid reader, not much of a television watcher. There are times that I dust the remote control off, and there are televisions in every room. And but the real time, real life that I live out through this fellowship and this process, it just doesn't loan way for television. I think at the end of my day, what could top the day that I've had when I've seen people distraught, people on the verge of not just losing sobriety, but willing to give up their lives because they're so backed up into the corner of their lives, they don't see a better way out. And I can meditate and pray and talk with those people and not necessarily pull them into my meditation or my prayers, but I can share with them and talk with them and sometimes even plead with them. Can you just give God one more try? Can we, like, it's 9:59:59. Can you give him that last minute? Can we just see if he'll come for you, come through for you in that last minute? That it'll impress something in your heart, in your mind, or in your spirit that'll give you the hope and the desire to just try one more day. And so to be able to be used in a way that I'd never dreamt of for myself, it's amazing. To be able to be used in the days that I live in. This day ended at my day ended last night at about 2:30 a.m. 5 o'clock, my feet were back up on the floor. I have no idea what time it'll end today, and I can't wait to see what's coming tomorrow. I get to be so excited about the life that I live and what the next day will bring and how the day will unfold because I didn't orchestrate it. I have my list of things to do, but I didn't orchestrate it. I'm always open and always willing to be challenged and channeled through for God's will to be done in my life. And that's how I just simply live my life. I don't have finances that are on reserve for God's will today. I don't have a time frame that's on reserve that I won't donate to God's will for the betterment of one of his other children. Didn't come here like that. Wasn't thinking like that for a long time, even in sobriety. And sometimes it's even kind of startling to me to hear myself share like this, to hear that that's now the core essence of where I live. It's the core essence of where I derive. It's the core essence of where I operate from today. And so sometimes I'm just a little bit like, whoo, yeah. For those of you that are new, we welcome you to these rooms. We want to let you know that we just share in a general way. We all have a story. There's a lot of similarities in our stories, but you have your own uniqueness in whatever your experience has been. We want to let you know that we're not a glum lot. Even if we're not physically together, like we're finding a lot of enjoyment in universe hopping, being global via our electronic devices. So no matter what my time frame is, I don't want to ramble. I think that I've driven the point home that any life run on self-will, I have come to find out, will hardly be a success. But any life that is empowered by God and any life that will yield itself to God, whatever that God is of your own understanding, there are no boundaries. There are no measures of what that life can produce. I thank you for allowing me to share myself with you this evening. I thank you for being part of a community that I never thought affordable. Not me. I get to be a part of a universal community of men and women who will embrace you no matter how far down the scale you've gone. That's not what we teeter on. I don't know of another forum in the universe that you could share the worst of yourself with a group of people. They'll smile, they'll hug you, and beyond, minus the corona pandemic, they'll give you a warm, well-meant hug and ask you to keep coming back. I don't know another form in the universe of people that will do that. And for all of you that help to support me in being the best version of myself that I can be through your prayers, through challenging me to go deeper, I thank you. Thank you so much for letting me share myself with you this evening. God bless.